If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Football season and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar. The perfect combination of good times and great food. This season, score big with one of our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness. Our delicious burgers are made with premium Angus beef, and you can pair it with one of our signature cocktails or a cold craft beer from our huge selection. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar on the Parkway in Huntsville and our new location at Cliff Farm, Highway 72 in Madison.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports, and it's brought to you by Guthrie's. America's original chicken finger restaurant is now an official partner of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For franchise information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Ahead of tonight's gymnastics meet against LSU, here are thoughts from the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Ashley Johnston.
And that's what we're working to drive towards this week, is to really come together as a united team, a united front, with the same mission in mind. And that is to start strong and handle the noise. That continues to be our message. And it's something that we want to get better at every single week. And we've grown a ton in that area. And there's still a few more steps that we need to make before we step into kind of the second part of the season that will take place a couple weeks from now.
I'll have more in a moment.
Founded in Haleyville, Alabama, Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers has been family owned and operated since 1965. Like their famous signature dipping sauce, Guthrie's has been imitated but never duplicated. Using the family's original Southern fried chicken recipe, Guthrie's is still serving the best chicken fingers in the world, just like you like them, fresh, hot, and fast. When you want the best, go to Guthrie's, America's original chicken finger restaurant, and now an official partner of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For franchise information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com.
We've got you covered this weekend for Alabama softball and basketball. The softball team starts play on Friday in the Candrea Classic in Tucson, Arizona, with all games carried across the network in RollTide.com and the Varsity Network app. Then on Saturday, men's basketball faces off against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Coverage starts at 6:30 Central across the network. Then on Sunday, it's Alabama women's basketball at Mississippi State. Tip-off at 1, and our coverage from Starkville begins at 12:45 p.m. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Guthrie's. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeAmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And there you go. We're back. We're live. We're brand new. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeAmond on a Friday morning. We're off. We're rolling. It is 51 degrees in the Rocket City. You can expect a high of about 63 this afternoon. So another beautiful day, hopefully there in the Rocket City. Should be a little wet and rainy tomorrow, though the high is going to be around 74. So get on out and enjoy the beautiful weather. Drew, it was beautiful, and I mean poetic at times last night here in Cleveland, Tennessee for the UAH Chargers. And in case you missed it, here's how the final call sounded.
7 seconds. They're taking their time into the front court. They're taking their time again. A three on the wing. No good. No good. And for the first time in school history, the UAH Chargers have won 21 in a row. Downing Delta State 80-74 is your final score.
Chargers would have a lead as many as 16 there in the second half, but boy, oh boy, Delta State. Remember, Coach told us they can shoot the ball. Drew, they shot the ball. They shot themselves back in the ball game at one time. I think they were 7 straight threes in 4 or 5 possessions. It was just unreal. They got themselves back in the game, but UAH fortunate enough to push the win streak to 21 games.
Yeah, the interesting thing, Scott, is I was listening to the end of you guys' broadcast, probably the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game, in between that barrage, when they were making pretty much they were shooting nothing but threes, making nothing but threes in between a couple of layups.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they score 74 points and shoot 10 of 19 from 3 in the second half. You would think if they had shot that well, they'd score 90. But it was a little bit of a weird game, but certainly Daniel Saylor was dominant inside. 25 points. I think I heard you guys say he was 12 of 13 from the floor or something of that nature. And it sounded like
everything he shot was like 2 feet from the rim. Not even that.
Yeah,
I mean, it was impressive.
What was it? 56 points in the paint, I think. I mean, they just pounded it inside. And then when it got close late, though, Blake Campbell kind of took over, going to the rim and making good decisions. And that was nice to see because, I mean, again, we know that Delta's really a well-coached team. They came in, I think you guys said, on a 5-game winning streak, so it's not like they weren't playing good basketball. And so if you're going to set a record of that nature, you're going to have to beat a good team on the road, and UAH found a way 80-74.
Coach McHedgespeth talked about after the game, tried to get him to talk about the 21 straight wins. Here was his response.
We try not to think about it too much and turn the page, but certainly we're all aware of that. And we talk a lot about keeping our hands to the plow. And we're going to, when this season's over, whenever that day comes, we'll look back and reflect more then. And I think appreciate it more then than in the moment. But very fortunate to be a part of this group. They're a special team. They've had several nights like this where it's really hard, and their resiliency has stood out, and you have to have a little bit of that for something like this to happen. And I'm just really, really proud and honored to be a part of this team.
There you go. That was Coach not talking about 21 straight.
Well, you're just trying to go, keep the focus on each individual game. And then you go, they've already clinched the regular season Gulf South Conference championship, but you're also trying to.
No, they've not done that yet.
Wait a minute. I thought they released that from the Gulf South Conference.
No. So did they do it last? If they had to have done it last night, but no, they're still. UAH has not clinched the regular season title yet. They put it out
last week. I saw some graphic. Golly, they're struggling with their player of the week and the Gulf South Conference championship graphic.
UAH has clinched a spot in
the tournament.
In the tournament. Yeah.
All right.
No, you are not the only person to see that because the way the Gulf South Conference worded it was that they had won the regular. Yes,
it did. Yes. I mean, I was laughing because you guys were joking about Blake Campbell playing well, but he won't be player of the week. So
was that obvious?
Yeah, I guess.
Did we make that obvious?
I caught the sarcasm there last night. So now I guess I'm giving you some more sarcasm because they said they won the Gulf South. I was like, wow, it's too early.
Yes, it is.
Whoa.
Yes, it is.
Oh
yeah. There's something to be said.
I thought to myself, wait a minute, man. Like Valdos's only lost 2 or 3. So how? But I thought, okay, I didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like how are they doing math these days?
Yeah.
No, they have clinched a spot in the
tournament.
In the tournament, yes. And then Valdosta clinched a spot yesterday. So there's 2 teams that have clinched spots in the conference. But UAH, yes, UAH has gotten theirs taken care of.
Nice. Well, it was a good win last night. Yep.
Yes, it was. And not to be outdone, we want to mention it because it was something that it was cool, and that was Alan Sharp and the UAH women
nice,
as well. They get a win on the road last night over Delta State, 56-50.
Yeah.
Just the fourth ever win in program history for the ladies on the road in Cleveland, Mississippi.
Yeah, 56-50. Saw that final score, and I think they're 18-4, Scott. Wow.
They are 18-4 and 13-3 in Gulf South Conference play.
Okay, I'm just going to put this graphic out real early. Coach of the year in the Gulf South Conference, Alan Sharp. Okay, let's just put that graphic out there.
Hey, here's something I learned yesterday as well. You know what school in the state of Mississippi claims the most national championships?
Delta State.
Delta State with 14 national championships, more than any other school in the state of Mississippi.
Well, our good friend Mark Hutchbeth, he was at Delta State, right?
Yeah, he was.
There you go.
He was. But I thought it was kind of funny that of course, Ole Miss. You would think. I mean, Ole Miss would claim, or you would think
Johnny
Ole Miss
Vaught,
would
it's
be
been
up there.
a long, long time in a galaxy far away since he won an SEC title and a national title. Man, they're one of only two schools, and really the only one in the original SEC when it expanded. When Arkansas and South Carolina came along, when they went to divisions, to not play in Atlanta. Okay, so the other one's Texas A&M, but Texas A&M didn't come along until like 2012. So Ole Miss never played in Atlanta. So that's a galaxy far, far away with all these championships. But now they're good at giving themselves championships. They certainly did in this preseason. And I think they all thought they were at least going to the playoff. And then Jeff from the Borough happened.
And then Jeff from the Borough. Is that what we can just call like bad mistakes? Can we just call it burrowed?
Well, I mean, we're at least giving him credit for a win. We've been giving him credit for being a loser this week in every aspect. So that was a win, Scott. That's at least some positivity. It was the highlight of a 4-8 wreck of a season for Mark Stoops.
That is true. No, that is true, because you go on the road and you beat a Lane Kiffin team that you were supposed to get.
And they kept them out of the playoff. If they win that game, they're in the playoff, dude.
That is true. That is true. 256-576-4977. You can join the program. We'll talk some college basketball. We'll get you ready once again for Super Bowl 59 because 48 hours, in over 48 hours, Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. We talk a lot about how the SEC basketball championship belongs in Nashville, how the SEC football championship belongs in Atlanta. Super Bowls belong in New Orleans. That's just where Super Bowls belong at.
Yeah.
It's crazy to say that, but I mean, we'll talk more about Super Bowl 59.
I mean, indoor venue, great place, a lot of memorable games there. I mean, it's a great setting. It should be a great game. I'm still leaning to the Eagles 31-28. That's my official.
I'll go with you on the Eagles pick. I will.
Yeah.
I will.
I'm going with
tomorrow on Sunday. Everybody becomes Eagles fans.
Yeah, we're all Eagles fans on Sunday.
Yes, we are. Okay, let's get out to the phone lines. Brandon is with us on a Friday. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning.
We are saying UAH rolled in there yesterday to Delta, and they put it down like they were Lambda.
Well, I tell you, they were up by 16 in Delta State, man. Whew, let me tell you, they can shoot that three ball, and there were some nervous moments there in the closing.
They cut it to 73-70, right? I mean, it got to within one possession at late in the game.
It did. It was a little nervous, some nervous energy in there. I mean,
we needed Drew running around like an ogre.
It was one of those you might have a drink after the game type of moments.
It sounded like Steve might need one. He seemed a little nervous last night behind the mic when they rattled in a couple.
Yeah, Steve was on one. You could tell he was amped up and ready to go. That was a good broadcast by him.
Yeah, it was good. Always good.
Well, so now that we're on 21 in a row, has Drew been to any games this year?
Have not. I'm almost
okay.
I'm almost nervous to go. because Shulman banned me from the gym, remember? So.
That's what I was about to say. I didn't know if that curse was lifted when he was gone, or if, with the streak going, if you were afraid to go, that way they couldn't blame it on you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have not. I've come close a couple times, and then I decided to stay away. May try to go late in the season if I can get the green light there.
There's only 2 more chances.
Yeah, there's only 2 home games left.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. You only got 2 left, and they're coming up this next week too, Thursday and Saturday.
Yeah, maybe by then they'll have clinched the regular season Gulf South Conference championship.
That would be a good one for Drew to go to once it's inconsequential.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and the guy we were talking about yesterday that ran that indoor mile, I forgot to say this. He's from Vestavia Hills.
Yeah. Yeah, we said he was from Birmingham yesterday.
Yeah, Scott said he was on the team.
Yep.
I did not mention that. And I wanted to ask you a question. Is it normal in AHSAA basketball, if you got a girls and a boys team playing, for them to play one game and then clear the gym and make everybody come back in again?
Yes, because I watched that on NFHS. It's rules. The other day, Hazel Green, shout out to Jeremy Crutcher and Coach Tim Miller. The Tim Miller and the Lady Bucks won by, I'm sorry about that there, Coach. The Lady Trojans won by 30 over the Lady Bucks of Buckhorn, our good friends at Buckhorn. Those ladies will now travel. Buckhorn will, and Hazel Green will host the sub-regional. But Hazel Green's ladies won the game, and they played them on the same day, and then cleared the gym because I was watching on NFHS, and they put about 20 minutes on the clock or whatnot. And then the boys played. Hazel Green did against Mae Jemison, and shout out to Jeremy Crutcher, 53-30 win there over Pete Miller's Mae Jemison Jags, who've been playing really good basketball, who put out the 2-time defending 6A state champion Buckhorn Buck boys basketball team, who had a really good regular season, but area play can be brutal. And Mae Jemison lost to Hazel Green, and so now Hazel Green will, I believe they are going to host Hartselle, and Mae Jemison will travel to Muscle Shoals in boys action. But again, that they do clear the gym. They make you clear the gym and then come back.
State policy. Yep. Because they treat them as 2 separate events.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So they don't have enough sense to sell. If you want to buy a ticket to both of them at the beginning, to sell you a ticket to both games so that you don't have to leave.
I don't know. I look, I give up when it comes trying to figure out knowledge for the AHSAA. I do. I try to. Because we'd make ourselves drink if we had to keep up with all that stuff.
Oh boy, no doubt about that.
It's yes.
Be worse than people drinking every time they show Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Well,
all right, Brandon.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Down.
Yep. Go Spring Garden, weekend. Boys and girls. Let's go. Go Garden. Go.
Yeah. The boys will play there first, and then the ladies will play second.
Well, I have to amend it. The ladies are undefeated in state. They lost their only game to an out-of-state team. The boys are undefeated. Yes. So let's keep rolling there for Spring Garden.
It's 7:15. We've got to get our first break in here on a Friday morning. When we come back, some interesting comments from an Alabama coach, plus college football salaries. Somebody joins the top 3 echelon when it comes to getting paid in college football. Where does he fall and where does everybody else fall? And how about not playing your spring game? We'll explain next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That wreck on 565 eastbound across from Hughes Road is our only working accident. Hopefully they'll have it out of the way very shortly. Everything else seems to be in order this morning. Some streets a little damp. You be careful on that ride in. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. Ask about their military, law enforcement, and senior discounts at D&L 256-652 1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Carrabba's Italian Grill is the best place to enjoy authentic Italian cuisine, passed down from our founders' family recipes. Featuring a wood-burning grill, you can enjoy Carrabba's signature dishes, including chicken Bryan, wood-fired grilled steak and chops, and classic Italian pasta dishes. Have a special event? Elevate your catering with Carrabba's Catering, the perfect way to enjoy large party portions of your favorite hand-prepared dishes for any event. Carrabba's Italian Grill at Parkway Place, Huntsville.
Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan, the right people to do your loan? Look no further than the Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the Vice President of Mortgage with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all about you. We're going to be okay. You're the one making the investment. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
How do they find you?
Give us a call at 256-507-9180, or they can catch us online at bankoffrankewing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green, where they take the home loan to you and they make it all about you. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDI insured bank, as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Believe. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo.
I want money!
You know, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
There you go. Welcome back. Friday edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. I'm still in Cleveland, Mississippi. Drew is back there in Huntsville. And Drew, last night, you had high school basketball. We had UAH basketball. But the NFL did hand out their awards last night for the NFL honors, I guess you will call it, for 2024. But before we get to who won what, got to play you this little clip from Snoop Dogg last night because he was the host of the awards. And I don't know if you've heard this one or not, but Snoop Dogg was bringing it on fire last night from the awards.
Because I've been a football fan for a long, long time. I mean, I remember back when the Cowboys was good. I remember back when the Chiefs was bad. And I remember, what was it? Bill Belichick's girlfriend wasn't even born yet.
I think you're on mute. There
Yeah, sorry.
you go.
I try to mute at least at some point during the break, but I will say this: Snoop was on fire. That's the Belichick girlfriend line. You gotta love that. He'll probably have his own sitcom soon. And by the way, if you want to see some good stuff, just go back and find the episodes that when he collaborated on MTV with Jackass. That's some funny stuff. But anyway,
but you know what? Nothing is as good as him cooking with Martha Stewart.
Oh yeah, that too. But I will say, I was stunned, and I know you're going to talk about the awards.
Yeah.
When I found out, of course, the University of Alabama did a great job of publicizing it, and he's had a tremendous career thus far. Just signed a huge contract with the Denver Broncos. But Pat Surtain, man, AP Defensive Player of the Year, and yet Alabama has never had one. Not even the great Derek Thomas. You would have thought.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
isn't that amazing that he's the first Alabama player to ever win Defensive Player of the Year?
Wow. Even because Derek, we all know what he did. I mean, he and LT, probably the two greatest pass rushers of all time. And again, the Chiefs were good when he was playing with them. They didn't go to a Super Bowl, but it is with all the stats he put up. 7 sacks in one game, the sack numbers, and again, we all understand his career was shortened as well. And then he tragically passed away. But man, he never won AP Defensive Player of the Year is pretty stunning to me.
Yeah, and I saw that. When I read that he was the first defensive player. And think about the ones over the last few years.
Yeah.
I mean, Minka Fitzpatrick's had a fantastic run.
Quinnen Williams. Yeah, I mean, they've had some really good players, no doubt about it, that you would have thought would have had a chance. I mean, I guess it was his teams had a ton of success, but he put up a ton of numbers too. Dante Hightower, being such an integral part of those defenses with the New England Patriots and ripping a Super Bowl from Julio Jones. And don't forget
your MVP. What was that?
No, I was just going to say, and don't forget, he had the strip sack that started the meltdown of all meltdowns. So got to give him a shout out for that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's when Atlanta lost.
When it was only 28-3 in the middle of the third quarter.
Oh, gosh, if only he could have won that game.
I know.
MVP goes to Josh Allen, your Offensive Player of the Year, Saquon Barkley. Defensive Player of the Year, as we mentioned, Patrick Surtain II. Jaden Daniels, your Offensive Rookie of the Year, your Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Verse, and then Joe Burrow, your Comeback Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell. So there's your NFL honors. Did those last night, I believe, in Las Vegas. So congratulations to all of them. The other story coming out of last night, Drew, the Pro Football Hall of Fame has its new class. Antonio Gates, Jared Allen, Eric Allen, and Sterling Sharp will all get their gold jackets.
First brothers in the hall, Scotty.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody had probably bet that it was going to be Eli and Peyton Manning being the first
what about
brothers.
The Matthews brothers? I would have thought that more than one of them was in the hall. That's the first thing that went through my mind. I mean, shout out. I mean, they both deserve to be as far as the Sharp brothers,
right?
Sterling and Shannon. But I would have thought, Clay, he was a great player. Bruce, I would have thought they would have had, that family would have had more than one in the Hall of Fame. But,
here's who did not make the Hall of Fame this year, who was on the ballot, finalists, did not make it. Eli Manning, Adam Vinatieri.
Ooh, Vinatieri.
Steve Smith Sr.
Oh, yeah.
Torrey Holt.
The great Torrey Holt.
Reggie Wayne.
Reggie.
Luke Kuechly.
Yeah. Great lineman.
Fred Taylor.
The Gator, Fred Taylor.
Yeah, Marshall Yanda, who, by the way, is from my hometown of Anamosa.
Oh, is he really?
Yes. He is a Blue Raider through and through. So those are a few of the names. Now, next year, these are first-time eligibles for the 2026 Hall of Fame class. One, Mr. Athens, Alabama native.
Oh, there we go.
Phillip Rivers. He will be on the ballot for the first time in 2026, along with Larry Fitzgerald and Drew Brees.
Yeah, somebody was even joking that Larry Fitzgerald, they weren't sure that he ever really officially retired. So, but I mean, all those cats, I mean, including Phillip, they should all be in. I mean, next year.
Jason Witten, Frank Gore, Julian Edelman, they are all part of that 2026. Will be on the ballot for 2026. You know what this tells me?
What?
We're getting old as hell.
Yeah, we are. It shows how long some of these cats been retired, man. And now Phillip, as we all know, has Gunnar Rivers, his son, who I believe will be a junior in the fall. He's already getting SEC offers. So, yeah, and I remember watching his dad's first friggin' game as a varsity quarterback. It was against
We're getting old.
It was against Shades Valley High School and Mayo Sowell over at Hartselle High School. It was a jamboree. He didn't have any kids. Now he has a baseball team, bro.
Well, I hope he didn't have any kids when he was
but he was with his wife at that point. That was his girlfriend at Athens High School. But I'm telling you what,
hoping
brother.
he didn't have any kids.
Yeah. He's going to work.
Yes, he went to work.
Lord.
After high school.
Yes. I mean, I think he got married in college and then, now
and then, his whole family moved. His whole family moved to Raleigh as well.
Steve Rivers
when he
coach
was
in
at
Raleigh,
NC
North
State.
Carolina.
Yes.
His venerable father, outstanding football coach.
Yep. He moved there, and we all know. I mean, he Phillip Rivers, fantastic.
Just career, and now doing a great job with St. Michael over in Mobile, and they're rapidly becoming a power in the AHSAA. So good job for them. Good job out of him, and hopefully he'll get in. I've been saying the same thing. I mean, about him, there's been some consternation about him being a Hall of Fame candidate, but with the numbers he put up and the yards, it's just like Dan Marino. Even though Dan Marino did reach the Super Bowl, I know Phillip didn't, or Dan Fouts, who did not. Neither one of them won a championship, but they put up outstanding stats and are in the Hall of Fame, and Phillip Rivers deserves the same thing.
All right, 256-576-4177. I'm sure it'll get debated just like the whole should Eli Manning get in debate.
I think he should. I mean,
he'll probably eventually get in, just wasn't first-time ballot.
Well, and again, I understand the stats. They talk about the interceptions, the touchdowns, and all this kind of stuff, and the completion percentage. But look, at times, and it took a long time for him to get in. Same thing could have been said about Kenny Stabler. But Kenny Stabler, won a Super Bowl, reached multiple Super Bowls, and they finally put him in. It took too long, and unfortunately, he wasn't with us when he went in, but he finally went in. And Eli should be judged the same. Eli beat Tom Brady twice. He's the only one that did it. All right. And then we all know in 2007 that they won the game where it kept the Patriots from the perfect season. And so I'm sorry, but Eli won 2 matchups. And his coach should be in too, by the way, Tom Coughlin. To me, I think Tom Coughlin is a Hall of Fame coach. Mike Shanahan is in is a Hall of Famer, and he won 2. So I think Tom Coughlin should be in as well.
Well, you look what Tom Coughlin accomplished. I mean, he brought the Jacksonville Jaguars up as an expansion team.
Yeah. And he reached the AFC Championship game with Natrone Means, who, guess what, is Bill Belichick's running backs coach with the North Carolina Tar Heels in a full circle moment.
Wow.
Natrone means business.
Hey, Marshall Faulk's coaching. Did you see that?
Is he? Where is he coaching?
He's going to be Deion Sanders' running backs coach.
Dang, Deion likes that star power, man. He uses that in recruiting. Coach Prime.
Got him a little Warren Sapp, little Marshall Faulk.
Woo.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Now let's see what he does when he's not coaching daddy ball.
Ah, true that. All right, we got to get a break in, 7:31. We'll talk some more college football. We'll visit back Alabama and talk some salaries.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. Scattered showers expected for this Friday. Otherwise, we'll sit under a mostly cloudy sky. High temperatures warming into the low 60s for the afternoon. Heading into our Friday night, we'll keep a few showers in the forecast, mainly before midnight. We'll start to dry out after. Otherwise, you can expect to continue to sit under a mostly cloudy sky with low temperatures falling into the mid and upper 50s for the overnight. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Super Bowl 59 is on Westwood One.
Now the Chiefs are on the doorstep of history, going for a third consecutive Super Bowl.
Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Grant. Join Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner, Laura Oakman, Gene Steratore, Devin McCourty, and me for all the action right here.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Auburn basketball coach Bruce Pearl has a challenge for you.
Be an MVP to a child in need by opening your heart, opening your home, and becoming a foster or adoptive parent in Alabama. I know so many folks that are. They tell me it's one of the greatest things they've ever done.
To learn more about becoming a foster or adoptive parent, visit dhr.alabama.gov. That's dhr.alabama.gov. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Human Resources, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and the station.
There are many adults in Alabama who cannot take care of themselves. Some of them need foster homes. The Alabama Department of Human Resources has a critical need for caring men and women to provide safe and supportive homes for vulnerable adults. Make a difference in someone's life. Be an adult foster care provider because love never ages. For more information, visit dhr.alabama.gov/AFC. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Human Resources, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
They've cleared that wreck on 565 eastbound across from Hughes Road. That one was a no injury, but they've had a little traffic problem there because of it. Everything else looks good this morning. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That's the price you pay. All right. Well, it's kind of interesting that that's the song that we come back, the price that you pay. And I say that because in a recent article in the Bama Standard, Rock Montgomery, Alabama's offensive line coach, has kind of opened some eyes a little bit and kind of drawn some attention to this past Alabama football team because he says, and I quote Drew, and I know you've seen this, he's seen a more dialed in, more serious demeanor from his team He says it began in the off-season workouts last month with an emphasis on returning the program to its past glory. He says it's not like we ain't never been serious about anything because there's things that we do, but we just got to get back to the old days. And he said you can't be late to workouts no more. No more jewelry, no more necklaces, none of that. It's not a fashion show. It's football. And a lot of people are reading this and have heard this, and they're taking exception to the no more portion of being late to workouts.
Well, I mean, again, and Rock is a reserve offensive guard. He's played center as well. He's a guy that could develop into a future starter. I don't see him starting this year, even though I'm sure he'll get some opportunities at that open left guard spot. But he's from Anniston, Alabama, and I thought the comments were very revealing. I think when Kalen DeBoer got there, he was in a very difficult spot. We've talked about it before. He had to keep his roster together, so he was married to that football team and kind of just tried to keep it between the ditches. And it was really almost a player-led team because, again, there was so many pieces of it returning. Only 2 coaches remained, but I think in many ways, the captains ran that football team, and most of them are gone, as we know. Deontay Lawson will return as he had an injury, but, Malachi Moore, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Booker, they're gone. And so – and I'm when you would see videos and, practice interviews and stuff like that, there was a lot of jewelry going on, and it did. And practice, the music at practice, all this stuff, everybody talked about what was different. Well, I mean, I think it's a situation where Kalen DeBoer and his coaching staff, they've never coached in the SEC. You had to get a feel of where you are. And you always go back and self-scout. Okay, what did we do? What did we do wrong? What did we do well? What do we need to do better? And I think they did. And people talked about all year about the discipline. And I do think they got to get the discipline back in the program. And I think I think that's basically what Rock was talking about. And from what I understand, I think early on they had to start the offseason, they had a team meeting, and Kalen DeBoer, allowed the team to talk and asked them what they wanted, and they wanted discipline. And so I think that's a very positive sign. I didn't take anything alarming out of it because guess what? Last season's over. You can't go replay anything. So if you're working on yourself and you're trying to set a tone and get better, that's only can be seen as a positive thing. It's not something to harp on and, this coaching staff, there was the season's over. And, you got rid of your boat anchor quarterback who's going to let him go take a shot at the NFL. We all wish him luck, but I think, I don't think anyone is disappointed that he moved on because he had his time in the sun. He was a 2-time captain. He won an SEC title. He went to the playoff. He didn't have as good a year this year, but you still hope the draft process goes well for him. Nobody's rooting against him. But again, I think it was time for him to move on. It was time for that. I think it's time for Lank to move on. I think Alabama needs to move on from that.
Let all naysayers know.
Yeah, I think
it's done.
They need to get back to tank. In other words, beating the hell out of people like a tank. They need to be tanking, not lanking. Okay.
A little too much swang going on. Swank.
Yeah.
Is swank a word? Did we?
No, I don't think so. I've heard of swag, not swank, but unless you're talking about swanky, but it's not swanky when you're losing to Vandy.
True that. We could be frank with the lank and the swank. And
here we go. Sky, this is going to be a voiceover. Just
a little Dr. Seuss moment.
Yeah, something you've already had them before.
Let's go out to the phone lines. Jeff from the Borough is with us. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
Guys. Yeah. I'm waiting for Rick Pitino to take the Indiana job. That's real smart. Yeah. At 70 years old, I'm going to go to Indiana.
Well, hey, it's going to happen. Right. The Indiana job is going to happen. It's going to be open, but it's not open yet. Not open yet. No, it will. Mike Woodson is gone. I mean, Mike Woodson is done. For those that don't know, in the last 24 hours, Mike Woodson. No, I'm just saying, Jeff, hold on a minute. I'm trying to let everybody know that in the last 24 hours, Mike Woodson and Indiana appear to be on the verge of separating. Mike Woodson is appearing to it's probably going to be they're saying now, everything that I read last night was that it looks like he probably will finish the end of the season and be done. Yes.
But what I'm saying is you have to make these calls. Rick Pitino, is John Badman doing this? Are you kidding me? Rick Pitino? I mean,
what's wrong with him going to Indiana?
What's that now?
I said, what's wrong with him going to Indiana?
How old is it? About 65, 70? Or is it Bruce Pearl or Scott Drew?
He's 70 years old,
a little
dude.
bit younger. I mean, he's insane.
He don't look it, but he is.
You think he's going to be in New York for Indiana? You really think he's going to do that?
I doubt it, but I mean, I think he's content there. I think he believes he can win big at St. John's, but would he take the phone call? Probably, but I'll be honest with you, there's only should be one phone call for that job. I've already said who should be getting it. It's Chris Beard. He should be the next head coach of the Indiana.
That's all right. I'm just saying that's fine, but I'm saying Pitino will take the phone call, but he'll hang up. I mean, Pitino's a New York guy. That's what he is. I mean, that's what he's.
He coached at Louisville and Kentucky in the South.
Well, I mean, he moved on to Kentucky, but he said that years ago. That's his big mistake of his life, leaving Kentucky.
And I think it was.
I mean, because he said when he came back to see Pope, he said, "I want to come to Camelot one more time." He knows that. I mean, that's the biggest. I mean, he could have been another. I mean, I don't know. He could have been as long as he might have. He could have been another rut, maybe, if he said, I don't know. I mean, that's one thing. That's a big mistake. I mean, Pearl or Drew, I guess. I don't know. Or Brad Stevens. I mean, maybe them three.
I honestly don't think Scott Drew will, even though I know he's an Indiana native. He went to Valpo. He coached there. I don't think he'd leave Baylor. I think he's going to stay there. But the reason Beard would be the perfect fit is because he coached for Bob Knight at Texas Tech. So Bob Knight is still, I know the way his career ended in Indiana was not ideal, but he's still revered there. He would connect the fan base, and he's a good enough coach. I mean, he's been to the national championship with Texas Tech. He's doing a great job at Ole Miss. We all know what happened in the situation with Texas. That was unfortunate, but I still think Beard, with his age, with his pedigree, and with the way he's won, I think he's the one guy. Kelvin Sampson should have been that dude, but for some reason, somebody didn't like him and was undercutting him in Indiana. And the one thing Indiana's got to do is they've got to get united again. And I still think Beard is the guy that can do that. Now, Bruce Pearl comes up because Bruce Pearl won a national championship at Southern Indiana. He's an Indiana native as well, but I don't see Bruce Pearl leaving Auburn. I think he's a lifer there.
Yeah, I would not. I mean, he can put his name up there, but I don't think he's leaving either. But I mean, Chris Beard, that's fine. I mean, they haven't won anything. They haven't won a national championship in 38 years. I mean, that's the way it is. I'm not saying they can't win again. They will at some point.
They hadn't been in the Final Four since 2002.
Yeah, they haven't been. They have the resources. I mean, they don't have the biggest arena in the world, but they've got resources and they've got different things to do it. I'm not saying they can't.
Well, since Indiana has fired Tom Crean, since Indiana said bye to Tom Crean, they're 144 and 107, 2 NCAA tournament appearances, and 1 top 5 finish in the Big Ten. That's it.
Well, they said bye to what's his name, Davis. He was at Texas Southern for a while.
Mike Davis.
He went to the Final Four, national championship game, I think. He went further than what's his name?
Yeah, that's the last time they made that deep run when he took over for Bob Knight.
National championship game, whatever. Who's the guy you're talking about? The guy before that? I mean, he didn't do
Tom
much.
Crean. Since Tom Crean, I mean, they haven't done much. My point is, they haven't done
Crean
much.
got him to number 1 for a brief time.
And Crean went to where Georgia and got his butt fired. He didn't do nothing to Georgia.
No, he hasn't.
Georgia don't care about basketball no way. When you go to Stogie Coliseum, smoke your cigar, Stogie. Smoke that such me your cigar. The worst part.
Well, they may not care about it, but they beat Kentucky.
Well, that's fine. They beat Kentucky. Anybody beat Kentucky right now? Boy, ain't got no points.
That's right. You're right. Everybody's beating Kentucky right now. They got that old A defense going on. Just drive right by your ass.
But of course, we can get 5 people out of the stands and beat Tennessee regular season, Rick. That's 2 times out of 3 we ain't had no point guard.
Well, as long as you win that one game, you're good, right? Just win that one game, Jeff.
Hey, three in a row in Knoxville. 3 in a row. 3.
That's good. Keep counting those numbers because everybody else is beating your ass.
Well, that is fine. We'll beat South Carolina Saturday, I hope. Maybe we won't. I don't know. We'll try it, though. Let's see about
Well,
it.
if you don't, that's embarrassing.
Is game day coming next weekend? I don't know. They might come. That's a big game. It's pretty big. It might be big.
Well, I would have thought they would have come this past weekend.
Y'all might sell that out. You might sell the game out. I doubt it, but you might sell that game out. It's a pretty big ticket, I guess. One time.
Who's we?
Y'all have a good weekend. See y'all.
He's talking about Arkansas and Alabama today. And that's going to be, we're fixing to talk to Curtis Wilkerson about that. And that game is taking on a different tenor completely because of the last 5 or 6 days with Arkansas and the way they've played on the road. I mean, thrashing Kentucky. Yes, Jeff, they did. They thrashed Kentucky in Rupp Arena. And then we saw what they did at Texas, 78-70, getting that dub. So they're playing much better. Basketball is funny. Since they lost Boogie Fland, who was supposedly their best player, along with Tiro, but they just absolutely stepped up and been playing outstanding basketball. I mean, no question about it.
It is interesting. It's just how the game goes sometimes, isn't it? It really is.
It really is.
We got to get a break in. When we come back, let's wrap up hour 1 of Talking Ball. We've already done this for 47 minutes. Hard to believe, right? Hard to believe. We've got hour 1 wrapping up next. Talking Ball at 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
They've cleared that wreck on 565 eastbound across from Hughes Road. That one was a no entry, but they've had a little traffic problem there because of it. Everything else looks good this morning. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
This is Steve Moulton for Lee's Magic Tunnel. Do you live out of your car? Does your car look like you've been well lived in? Then take your vehicle to Lee's Magic Tunnel, located on the Parkway. Any size of the vehicle, it doesn't matter. Lee's will get it clean. Offering many types of washes, but getting it clean inside and out. Ask for the manager special. That's at Lee's Magic Tunnel, located on the Parkway, and located online at leesmagictunnel.com for more information.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com.
Time for us to wrap up hour 1 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome in. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines if you would like to join us here as we get ready to end hour number 1. And we have had a lot go on over the last 4 days. We've not even had a chance to go over this. And that is what Matt Rule is considering in Nebraska. I don't know if you saw this or not.
Yeah, I saw this. He's considering no spring game because of
that's
being
exactly.
Well, why don't you just have it, but close it only to maybe your supporters? I don't know. You don't have to have it on television. I mean, you could police it where you're not letting anybody in. I mean,
Matt Rule, the head coach of Nebraska, is saying, "Hey, I don't really want a
TV
spring
cameras,
game, because I don't want other teams coming in and tampering." He said last year's spring game, there was a bunch of people, other coaches, other teams coming in trying to steal his players, tampering, trying to get them to go into the portal. So he's saying this year, he said, hell with it. I don't want a spring. We're not going to do a spring game. He's floating the idea of not playing a spring game.
Well, look, man, I understand where he's coming from, but I would just not allow any opposing coaches. I would police it. It would be tight security,
Right.
Hey, just my fans, we're not going to have it on TV. Just, it's going to be an intimate gathering, and do it that way. I mean, and then you've got your staff has the film. Nobody else is getting it. So
I know we laughed at Lane Kiffin for what he did last year, but is he on to something by doing something like that?
Because he really didn't have a spring game. What was it? It was almost like a Pro Bowl game, right?
It was almost like a Pro Bowl style thing. They did their practice, they did everything, they scrimmaged, during the spring, and then
they
for
lost
the fans,
to Kentucky at home.
Well, okay, so maybe it wasn't a good thing, but I mean, seriously though, do you see more teams maybe go in that direction?
I can see
what Ole Miss did.
I could see them not maybe understanding that, depending on where your program is, not welcoming the TV cameras and the networks because it's a spring game, But
right,
you still need to get your work in, but don't put it on TV, and lock things down if you're afraid of your roster getting poached. Now, I'll just say this: it's Nebraska. You should be taking care of your players. You should be developing players where you're not worried about, getting poached. I mean, because everybody's going to a certain degree with their backups. But I will give Matt Rule one thing, and I thank him profusely for taking Elijah Pritchett. We certainly appreciate that here in the state of Alabama.
Do we?
Yes.
That's a good
very
thing.
much so. Turnstile 57 is out of here. And yes, he's getting paid, so I can call him Turnstile 57.
Oh, so you're okay with that move?
Yeah, I'm totally okay with it. Adios, amigo.
Oh, wow. The first thing now you said, that first thing that came to my mind is the Three Amigos.
Yeah, there you go. Hey.
Steve Martin, Martin Short, and
Chevy Chase, right?
Chevy Chase. Yep, the Three Amigos.
There you go.
Oh, that was a class. That was a good. I don't want to say.
There we
classic.
go. I'm sitting there snapping my fingers here.
I see you. You are doing it. John, I don't think that's. See, we used to make fun of Bailey for not seeing a lot of movies.
Yeah.
I bet you, John, you've not seen the Three. Have you seen the Three Amigos?
I've seen the Three Stooges.
Oh, but yeah,
I didn't hear him. I can't hear him. So what did he say?
He's seen the Three Stooges, not the Three Amigos.
Oh my
Sorry,
goodness!
I've seen the Three
There you go.
Amigos, but the different versions.
Well, look, I mean, this is the first time we've ever mentioned this particular movie on this show.
Yeah,
and we all know John was an embryo; he was not born. So how is he going to know about the Three Amigos? I mean, there's a chance he might not. So
there's a chance. I mean, I didn't know because sometimes they
even
put
though
it
the Three
on.
Stooges are from the friggin' 20s, but heck,
See, there you go. So how would you see that one? How would you see that? I mean, how would you
made
be
like
able?
1,000 remakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I haven't seen the remakes. I saw the original, bro.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad they haven't remade. I mean, because it's so hard to redo it. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if you could actually in this day and age.
No.
I don't.
From it.
I'm hoping.
Kim goes, this is it. Ned, big smile, Dusty, just relax and have fun with it. We're just gonna have fun with it.
I mean, I don't want to keep playing because I don't know if it's all edited.
Oh yeah, there we go.
In trouble.
We don't want to get fined. We're just here so we don't get fined. We're having a great Super Bowl moment.
Oh.
Marshawn Lynch, probably going to be a Hall of Famer at one point.
Yeah. Hey, so the college football salaries, because he wins a national championship, Ryan Day gets a bump in pay. $12.5 million now per season for Ryan Day.
Going from nearly fired because of the Michigan debacle to $12.5 million a year because he wins the national championship. Like
Kirby Smart still sitting number one at $13.2 million. But Ryan Day in there at number 2 now puts him ahead of Dabo Sweeney at 11.5 and Steve Sarkisian at 10.9. Kalen DeBoer still in the top 5 at $10.25 million per season.
Not surprised that I told you they're going to reward Ryan Day. He's now got so much equity. He'll be there for a while. I mean,
even if he continues to lose to Michigan?
Look, John Cooper's record was just, you grew up in Anamosa, Iowa in the Big Ten.
Yes,
John Cooper's record against Michigan was abysmal. And he stayed for nearly 20 years because he did win a national championship, but he reached some Rose Bowls. He had, he churned out pros. Day's won a national championship. If he can stay out of his own way, unlike his mentor, Urban Liar, who, basically couldn't keep it between the ditches, then he'll be there for a while. And Jim Tressel to a certain degree, even though, I don't put Tressel in the same category as I do Urban Liar.
Number 6 on the paid list are Lincoln Riley, $10.1 million.
Lord, what wasted money.
Yes, it is. Yes,
that money should have
indeed
gone to other things that we've already talked about.
It could go to a lot of things.
Like water reservoirs.
Curtis Wilkerson will join us at the top of the hour. We got to talk a little Arkansas basketball.
This is Bryan Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. For a limited time, GBank is offering a $250 bonus when you open a GBank Visa signature card. Apply today at vsin.com/GBank.
Win 4 categories against your Super Bowl opponent. You've gone 26-0, 24-1-1 against the spread. The 4 categories: rush for more yards than your opponent, have more yards per pass attempt, win the time of possession battle, and have fewer turnovers. You do those 4 things, you're winning the Super Bowl 20. Las Vegas in Super Bowl 59. While outside of Las Vegas, at sportsbooks like FanDuel, DraftKings, and BetMGM, the Chiefs are the 1.5 favorite. The total 48.5. For more, go to vsin.com.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeAmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
We do want to thank SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center for helping us kick off hour number 2 of the show on a Friday morning. I think we've said it a lot. We say it again. Just give them a call, 256-881-5151. You can experience the SportsMed difference. They're the official training providers for the Rocket City Trash Pandas, UAH Chargers, and several high schools in the Tennessee Valley area. So give them a call. If they can trust them, if they all want their people to go, we want you to go to them as well. 256-881-51. You can experience that sports med difference. The Arkansas Razorbacks, you look at what John Calipari has done. We talked about it yesterday. We talked about a little bit in hour number one, the fact that while they may only have 3 conference wins, they seem to be trending in the right direction. 3-6 in league play, but they seem to be trending in a better spot coming out of that win against Rupp. That just kind of gave them a little bit of new momentum. Then they parlayed that into another win over Texas. Now, Drew, though, comes a very formidable task. 7:30 Saturday, right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Third-ranked Alabama traveling to Bud Walton Arena in Fayetteville. If Arkansas can pull this one off, watch out.
Exactly. I mean, the last week and a half for the Arkansas Razorbacks has completely turned the direction of this season. And it's funny, it comes with the loss of Boogie Fland, and their rotation is now down really to 8 guys. But it's just John L. Davis has become who we thought he would be as far as out of the transfer portal. He was, some thought, the best portal addition of anybody in the country. Thero he's playing really well. Of course, we knew he came with Cal from Kentucky, but still, it's funny how it streamlined things. DJ Wagner's playing much better. This is a completely different outlook and kind of feel for this contest for Alabama, who's been off a week, but you're going to play an Arkansas team that's going to be playing much more confident basketball. I expect Bud Walton Arena to be a zoo, be a sellout, and we're going to talk about it with our next guest. Connected with him a few years back in his previous time with hogsports.com as far as with 24/7, but now he has his own situation going. It's growing exponentially. It's InsideArkansas.com. He's the managing editor for Inside Arkansas. Their YouTube channel is outstanding. I really enjoyed their coverage of Kentucky. They went to Rupp Arena. They were there. They flew down. They were there before the game, took in everything. They were at KS Bar with Matt Jones, who we know very well. Scott, who's been on our show and
friend of the program.
Yeah, friend of the program. And he laid out the reasons that Arkansas could win, and he kind of nailed it. But we're going to talk about the Arkansas Razorbacks with our next guest, Curtis Wilkerson, who has been kind enough to carve out some time this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Curtis, it's great to have you back here in Huntsville with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's good to be back on with you guys, and appreciate the kind words there in the intro.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really enjoyed it. I mean, you're a hoop guy anyway. You're a former coach. I mean, you know the sport very well. You have a very good feel for Arkansas. And this has been a stark turnaround because I have to admit, I was as surprised as anyone with their start to the season in conference play. It did not look good. But, I just remember watching you guys' show from KS Bar, and Matt was like, hey, guys, I'm telling you, Calipari does this. Everybody will be counting him out, and then he'll rise up and beat someone. He certainly did that. And then you're wondering when they come down, how are they going to play at Texas? And quite frankly, I didn't think it was as close as the 78-70 score made it sound. I thought Arkansas controlled the game.
Yeah, they absolutely did. It's you're right. It's been a fascinating turnaround. You mentioned at the top that 3-6 SEC record. You look at it and you think, things must not be going through in Fayetteville, right? But that's not too shabby when you got off to the worst start in SEC play in program history at 0-5. So they've won 3 or 4 since. It has coincided, oddly enough, with losing their best player for the season to an injury in Boogie Fland. But I thought you kind of nailed it there. What it's done is it's kind of just organically shifted pieces into better places, and these guys are in roles that I think fit them a little bit better now. DJ Wagner's looked great at the point guard position. John L. Davis, this has really, really unlocked his game. And he looks like the player I think Arkansas fans expected to get. So it's been quite the turnaround. It's fascinating. When you look at the schedule at the beginning of the year, you looked at this week, and it's at Kentucky, that's going to be crazy. Going to Texas a couple of days later, that's a tough one. And then you got Alabama, arguably the toughest game on your schedule. coming into Bud Walton. Man, can you get one of those maybe? And now they've won the first two, so you almost feel like they're playing with house money. They got a free shot at Bama here. They look good. They're playing with confidence. Cal said, just be patient, and they'll get this thing rolling. Looks like he's a man of his word, but he sure tested the patience of folks here in Fayetteville in year one. It's been pretty funny. The last 24 hours or so, we've been reminding anybody, hey, go back in the archives, delete those mean tweets now. That way, you don't want the receipts pulled up on you here too soon. But a long way to go, but certainly trending in the right direction for Arkansas.
Let's back it up to that 0-5 start in league play. Where do you put your finger on as to why the slow start?
Well, I think the easy place to start is the first three games were just, they were brutal. You're on the road at Tennessee. You get a really good Florida and a really good Ole Miss team coming into your place. And so those are going to be difficult games anyway. You had Jonas Adu, who he was an all-SEC center at Tennessee last year. It still hasn't clicked for him, but he was out. He had a foot injury. Wasn't 100%, so you were trying to work him back into the swing of things. John L. Davis had missed time in the preseason with a wrist injury, came back, played most of the non-conference, but then they shut him down for 2 weeks before the start of SEC play because the thing was bothering him again. So they were dealing with some injury things. It was a really tough schedule, and you just felt like they were behind. Cal talked all the time about how they didn't have enough bodies to scrimmage. They couldn't work on some of the things they wanted to work on. You could see the talent. You could see the vision. They would show flashes. They're having a hard time stringing it together and just looked like a team that had a lot of really good players, but they weren't necessarily connected and firing all cylinders. You don't want to be in that situation when you get in this league this year. So it was tough for them. They had some games where they would build up 8, 9, 10-point leads. They did that against Florida. They did against Ole Miss. They did it on the road at LSU. But they couldn't figure out how to close games. So they wind up losing some of those. And then they had a couple stinkers on the road. Tennessee beat up on them pretty good. They were down 18-2 at Missouri before you could blink. And next thing you know, you lose Bookie Fland. And so you're trying to reinvent yourself as a team. So it was kind of a calamity of disasters there. They're finally starting to settle down now a little bit, get some confidence, hitting their stride. We'll see what it means. We'll see how long it lasts. I think they've got a good thing going, though, right now.
Well, and with the short bench, any injuries can be an issue, though. I noticed, though, still Jonas Adu not playing a lot. How healthy is he heading into this pivotal game against an Alabama team that's 10 deep?
Well, that's interesting because if you ask John Calipari, and we do, he says that he's at 100% now. That's what he told us before the game at Texas. And boy, I don't want to question the man's integrity there on the truth-telling business, but he sure doesn't look like a guy that's 100% to me. He had his moments late in non-conference play, early in SEC play. I think he had a double-double against Florida, played pretty well against Ole Miss. And at LSU, he had some good games mixed in there, and it's just been a drop-off. And what we've noticed with this front court is sometimes Adu is playing well, but you're not able to get much out of Big Z's, Montemir Avicic. And sometimes Trevin Brazil's playing well, and then you're not getting much out of Adu. They haven't had all three of those guys rolling at once here. But the thing with Adu that's been interesting is for a while, he was still playing big minutes. There just wasn't a ton of production there. Scoring-wise, he was still a factor defensively. But he hasn't looked as explosive, not moving as well laterally. And we've seen those minutes go down from, 20-plus per game. Then all of a sudden he was playing 10, 11 per game, and then he just played 4 the other night. So it's trending in the wrong direction. I think part of it is you've had Avicic start to emerge. And with Boogie Fland out, that's one of your best three-point shooters. Now you put Big Z out there, and interestingly enough, the 7'2" guy is the best three-point shooter on the team. So he's been really important out there for spacing. I think that factors into some of Adu's minutes, but no doubt about it, if he's 100%, they certainly need him to start playing like it, especially against an Alabama team. You'll look up out there, and they've got 3, 6, 11 guys on the floor at once. You need the all-SEC defensive player that was at Tennessee last year to kind of start showing up and playing a more valuable role here for Arkansas.
And Arkansas goes to Kentucky. They take on Texas. But the one thing they have in common with both of those games is defensive energy early. And especially in that Texas game, Arkansas came out and was relentless on the defensive side of the basketball early on.
Yeah, that's kind of been the thing that they've been able to hang their hats on most consistently throughout the course of the year. The offense has been a work in progress. For a while, it was a little stagnant there. People couldn't figure out their roles. Then they got in a stretch where they were creating great shots. They weren't making them. And now they're starting to hit their stride there. But defense has been pretty reliable. It's an athletic group. They've been really disciplined. And when they get popped occasionally, it's because the three-point defense lacks early. Like, if you'll check the Missouri game where they got down so big early, they gave up 10 threes in the first half in that game. That kind of thing has happened to them a couple times where they go up 9, 10 threes in the first half, and then they really tighten up. But they've kind of cut that stuff out. They play with physicality. They create a little bit of havoc. They can force the turnovers and get out in the open floor. Against Texas, they really just shut their water off. Those guys can get anything going. I thought that really dictated things. I'm not saying that they're necessarily a better team without Boogie Fland out there, because he's special. He's going to be a first-round draft pick. But I do think that they're better defensively. Boogie Fland's not a big guy. He's 6'1", 165 pounds, whatever. Quick, smart, gets in the passing lane. But I like DJ Wagner being the head of the snake defensively. He's a strong, physical, tough guard. And he's really been able to set the tone for what Arkansas does with their pressure defensively. And it's been working for them. So that's going to continue to be a major key for these guys moving forward. They're playing better offensively, but this is still not a team, despite what they did at Kentucky, and a lot of teams are doing that to Kentucky right now. They don't really have the firepower to go out there and score 85, 90, 95 points and beat teams consistently. They need to be playing. Some of these games are going to have to grind out in the 60s, win some in the low 70s. I think that's kind of the recipe for this team.
And we're talking to Curtis Wilkerson, managing editor inside Arkansas. Please check out their YouTube channel. It is outstanding if you love the Hogs, and especially if you're a college basketball nut like myself. Also, InsideArkansas.com. Curtis, what has been the key? What have you seen offensively, the adjustments made by Coach Calipari and the staff to unlock John L. Davis, who he was the biggest key, I think, because we saw him at FAU, and when he went to the Final Four, they could have easily played for the national championship. He was just an outstanding player, a guy that looked like a first-round draft choice, quite frankly. He's had a difficult adjustment to the SEC, but now seems to be getting it rolling at the right time. But what have you seen? What has your eyes told you how they've been able to get him going?
Well, I think it's twofold. One, you can tell that wrist is feeling better. And, it didn't show up so much in his jump shot, I didn't think, as much as it did with his ball handling early in the season. He just didn't look like a guy that was comfortable putting it on the floor. Maybe he was still working on that grip strength, the wrist strength, but it just looked a little bit awkward, a little uncomfortable, especially compared to what we've seen from him in the past. So he looks healthy, for one, but two, you said the word unlocking John L. Davis. And it's funny that you say that, because it felt like he was locked directly in the left corner of the floor every second of every possession early in the season. And it's interesting. They were trying to figure out how to make it work, because you had three guys in that backcourt with Boogie Fland and John L. Davis and DJ Wagner, all who like to have the ball in their hands, all who can create. And it was almost like there wasn't enough basketball to go around there. So he was just kind of stuck in the corner, serving as a catch and shoot guy, didn't really have a lot of freedom to create and make plays. Well, Boogie Fland comes off the floor. All of a sudden, there are 15 more shots to go around. The ball is moving a little bit more. He's not operating as the point guard, but he's really thriving as a secondary ball handler, getting comfortable. This is a guy who has been actually at his best, getting downhill, shooting the mid-range, scoring around the rim, creating in the paint. He was shooting almost 70% of his shots from the season from three throughout the course of non-conference play. Really uncharacteristic. He's found more balance now, really, really playing with some confidence and some swagger that you saw at Florida Atlantic. And, man, he was a major, major catalyst for Arkansas at Texas and at Kentucky in those wins. And I think he's going to kind of be the guy who's the X factor if they're going to carry this thing on to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, that's the thing. With a win against Kentucky, a win against Texas, Arkansas has vaulted themselves and have put themselves back in the conversation for an NCAA tournament bid.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. You go look at all the different analytics, the BPIs, the KenPoms, Torviks, whatever you want to look at. And, this time a week ago, you were seeing Arkansas at, 1.2% chance of getting in the tournament to 4% chance of getting in the tournament. And rightfully so. I mean, they were 1-6 in SEC play. They didn't have much meat on the bone on the resume for the longest. They had a neutral site win over Michigan. Hey, great win. And then you go start looking, their next best win was Lipscomb in the season opener. So they had to get some things on that resume. Had a nice little win over Georgia. That's a quad 2, whatever, you'll take it. But when you go on the road and you beat Kentucky and Rupp, you get another quad 1 at Texas, that really starts to put some meat on the bone there. And this is an SEC where there are very few opportunities to take bad losses. Every night is an opportunity to get a big win. So Arkansas is playing well now. They've got themselves in position to be in position, if you will. I think Lenardi had them as the first team out of the field when he updated yesterday. That's right where you want to be. And so the one thing we haven't seen yet, they took this show on the road. Sometimes that takes a little bit of pressure off of you when things are going wrong. Just get out of town a little bit. People are frustrated. You got your backs against the wall. You win a couple games. Now they're going to be able to come back home and get an opportunity. Hey, you knock off Alabama in Bud Walton Arena, you're not having to have these conversations for a little bit about what do we have to do to fight our way back in there. You're in there if you do that. So kind of a free shot at Alabama here. It's going to be a really, really jacked up atmosphere at Bud Walton. And when that place is rocking, when it's at its best, and you got to be 8-10 points better than Arkansas to come in there and beat them. Alabama might be. We'll see. But I think it's going to be a fascinating game on Saturday and a great opportunity for the Hogs.
Well, and finally, I wanted to get your thoughts. You've watched Alabama. How do you see this matchup? What's the key for Arkansas to beat the Tide? And because Alabama's actually, it's been funny. You talk about road and home. Alabama's actually played better, in my opinion, on the road.
Yeah, it's an interesting team. When I look at Alabama, I kind of think that they're like the pro version, or maybe that Kentucky is the minor league version of Alabama. I mean, they play a very similar style. And don't get me wrong, Kentucky's got really good players, but Alabama's got a bunch of NBA talent there. It's like they're doing the same things with a more talented roster. They play so fast. Arkansas is going to have to be able to control the tempo a little bit. They don't have the horses for that kind of race. They can pick their spots, but I feel like a lot of people look at Alabama and they do they're just, if they go out there and knock down 15 threes, you're not going to beat them. Well, that's true, but I don't think it's necessarily about that so much as how they get those threes. You got to keep them out of the paint. You got to avoid those driving kicks that are easy catch and shoot, knockdown opportunities. Transition defense is so important because they'll knock down those transition threes. And in those reload three-pointers, they get a lot of offensive rebounds because they shoot a lot of threes and there's long rebounds. They kick it out, reload, knock down the three. It's the way that they get them. If they're shooting a bunch of contested ones, they're knocking them down. Okay, hat tip to them, but you can't do them any favors to give them quality looks. It's obviously going to be really, really important for Arkansas. And I think slowing down the tempo, not settling for threes and trying to get a shootout, but maybe getting to that free throw line, slowing down the game, giving yourself a natural breather, racking up the free throws at home, I think is probably a recipe for Arkansas if they're going to find success.
Great stuff from Curtis Wilkerson. Continued success, man. We're glad to have you back. We hope to continue to connect through this basketball season. Arkansas making a big-time run, trying to get into that big dance in John Calipari's first year. But let everybody know how to connect with what you guys are doing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I appreciate it. We got a website over at InsideArkansas.com. We post all our content over there. And then, the YouTube channel, you mentioned it, that's the bread and butter for us. Check it out, Inside Arkansas YouTube, subscribe. We've got a bunch of content over there, basketball, football, baseball, anything covering the Razorbacks. You got it. You can find us right there.
Thanks, Curtis.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, let's get that break in. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, the Zone. Phone lines, 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, the Zone.
One wreck on Elkwood section near Waltrain. I had an overturned vehicle there, reported with injury, but they canceled HIMSI on it. Everything else is clear this morning. I don't see any other snags for you. You be careful as you make the rest of your trip in. Do your methods to lose weight no longer work for you? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan, the right people to do your loan? Look no further than the Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the Vice President of Mortgage, with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all about you. We're going to be okay. You're the one making the investment. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
How do they find you?
Give us a call at 256-507-9180, or they can catch us online at bankofFrankEwing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green, where they take the home loan to you and they make it all about you. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDI insured bank, as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
Listen to the Havoc Hour on Tuesdays live from Zambrewski's upstairs at the Ice Sports Complex, the Huntsville Havoc's home away from home. And Havoc fans, you can earn reward points for attending. Presented by Stockton Mortgage.
NMLS 8259.
On 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, we had Curtis Wilkerson on there talking a little Arkansas Razorback basketball in the last segment. Talking ball 97.7 ESPN, the Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeAmond. The rest of the SEC tomorrow will set you up like this. 11 a.m., fourth-ranked Tennessee on the road at Oklahoma. And then you're going to get 14th-ranked Kentucky hosting South Carolina. And, Drew, I loved it when Curtis Wilkerson called Kentucky the minor leagues to Alabama. That was...
Didn't run off the road, but I'll let you handle it today. You did a pretty good job of body slamming him yourself. Right on by there, don't lay defense.
Well, that's about what they're playing right now. Give me any of that old A BS. I can't say the full words.
Here we go.
But then Vanderbilt's...
We're not on XM, everybody.
We are not on XM. As you found us, we're just doing things so we don't get fined.
Yeah. Johnny Boy has not had to use the dump button.
Is it even installed?
I don't know. He's gotten a lot of stuff, ready to roll here. I think Zune's
so
worked
you have
out.
had to be on your best behavior because it's not installed.
Yeah, well, I guess. I mean, I'm trying to anyway.
We have.
How do you teach a dog how to swim? You throw it in the water.
That's what we're doing. 15th ranked Missouri hosting 10th ranked Texas A&M, Drew, and all of a sudden Missouri. This is a game. They've been a good surprise. This is a game now Missouri needs.
Yeah, they need it. No doubt about it. Mizzou and Dennis Gates, they've been one of the surprises in the league, but it's funny. You can be flying high 1 minute, and then the next minute you're treading water. Arkansas was treading water. Now they're flying high. Georgia did the same thing because they Mike White. They got off to a good start. Then they lost 4 in a row. It's just a tough league. You just got to, minimize the bleeding a little bit. But again, it's hard to go undefeated. That's what makes Auburn's 9-0 run to start league play amazing. Alabama's gone 8-1, but still, it's tough not to stub your toe. But Auburn has not. The league is very difficult. But it'll be interesting this next 7 days or so, because Alabama and Auburn both have interesting opponents. Auburn at home against Florida, top 5-6 team in the country. Then they go to Vanderbilt, which is always a tricky road trip. Alabama's got 2 road trips. You just heard Curtis Wilkerson of Inside Arkansas talking about it's going to be, he said, a bedlam, basically. It's going to be off the wall in Fayetteville now that Calipari has shown signs of turning this season around. So the Alabama has got to be ready to go. You know what I'm saying? If you're not ready to go, you can get that ass whooped. So they better be ready to go. Don't do what you did. And they had an unbelievable year, 31-6 a couple of years ago. But I won't ever forget, in one of Jeff's favorite things, it was the Big 12 back then. It was the SEC Big 12 Challenge, and Alabama didn't come out ready to play. And an Oklahoma team that was just mediocre whipped them. So you've got to be ready to go on the road. And so Calipari will have his team ready. John L. Davis playing the way he is. I mean, that he's a big-time player. So Alabama's got to, continue their tendency to play well on the road. They need to get off to a good start. They need to, outwork Arkansas on the glass. They need to, pound them. They've only got 8 guys. So you need to take advantage of that. You need to control the pace. You don't need to let them dictate it and slow it down. If you're Alabama, you need to get the game into the, if it's 85 or more, if Alabama scores 85 plus, they're going to win.
All right, let's slip in Wolverine Dan real fast on the phone lines. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. Tell me this was right or wrong. I think it was 100% wrong. Dan Campbell was not the coach of the year, and the guy that we beat up twice and beat him in one division, he's the coach of the year.
I mean, I can see the argument as far as what you're saying. I mean, Dan Campbell, they were the number 1 seed. They won the division. When it mattered, they just whacked Minnesota and blew them out. But I guess it was just because here's the thing that you ought to be proud of, though, Dan. I think the reason he didn't win it is because there was expectations that Detroit was supposed to be an elite team, which they were. They didn't get to the Super Bowl, but they were outstanding this year. Minnesota kind of came out of nowhere. Nobody thought Minnesota was going to be 14-2 or whatnot, or I guess it was 15-2. Nobody thought they'd be that good, or 14-3, whatever it was, because Sam Darnold was the quarterback, and they had made a QB change, and then your guy from Michigan gets hurt. He can't play this year. JJ McCarthy. They didn't know what to expect. And so Minnesota kind of came out of nowhere, whereas I think Detroit had high expectations, and they'll have them next year as well.
Well, they will have them next year. The reason why that loss to Washington, part of it was, of course, Washington had a good quarterback. He had a really good game. But, that tackle that Golf was trying to make when he threw that interception, that defensive lineman really – he hit. I thought that was a target, and he saw some stars. And I think from that point on, he was so rattled up inside his melon that he wasn't making good decisions and throwing ball that well. I think that was a big reason why we lost the game. But that's just a game that we're going to have to just put it on forget about it, move forward. But I think here's the deal. We get our team back healthy. Addressed a couple defensive people up front. I think offensively we're good enough. And the point is this, that might work, Drew, in our favor, because I'm sure Campbell will use that as some kind of, that's my granddaughter. Anyway, he could use that as sort of like a motivational tool for his team, saying that he's being disrespected and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's been a gradual build for Detroit. Eventually, you got to get over the hump. And, they nearly did 2 years ago. This year was disappointing. I don't think there's any question about that, but defensive health had a lot to do with it. If you address it in the draft and free agency, and to me, they need to concentrate on defense, maybe address the O-line a little bit, but it's especially defensively because it's pass rush. If you're going to beat Jaden Daniels, how do you beat him? You beat him by getting after him. And so they're going to have to beef up their interior pass rush and probably on the edges too, and then get Aiden Hutchinson healthy.
In my closing, and I'll get off and let somebody else get on. This Super Bowl Sunday, be prepared for the dudes in the striped uniforms to do something that will make Kansas City win this game. I don't know, Drew. I just feel that way. This team gets the calls, and they get a lot of calls. So, but you know what? Homie's still got to win. Even if he wins this one, he's got to win 4 more to match the GOAT, and I don't think he can. See you later.
Thanks. All right, a lot of talk about that. The referees this week, and Roger Goodell even addressed it during his State of the State, or whatever you want to call it, State of the NFL address and everything. But we got to get a break in. When we come back, Brian Passink will join us. Let's preview Alabama-Arkansas from the Alabama bench coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. Scattered showers going to remain in the forecast for this Friday night. We'll see mostly cloudy sky, low temperatures falling into the upper 50s for the overnight. Heading into the weekend, isolated showers possible for Saturday morning. We'll see partly sunshine for the rest of the day. High temperatures warming into the mid-70s, and heading into our Sunday, looks like we'll be staying dry. Partly sunshine, high temperatures warming into the upper 50s for the afternoon. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had one wreck on Elkwood section near Wall Triana. Had an overturned vehicle there, reported with injury, but they canceled HIMSI on it. Everything else is clear this morning. I don't see any other snags for you. You be careful as you make the rest of your trip in. Do your methods to lose weight no longer work for you? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Super Bowl 59 is on Westwood One.
Now the Chiefs are on the doorstep of history, going for a 3rd consecutive Super Bowl.
Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Graham. Join Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner, Laura Oakman, Gene Steratore, Devin McCourty, and me for all the action right here.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Howdy, folks. Bob Baumhauer here. Whether you're planning a tailgate party at the game, cheering for your favorite teams at home, or at your local Baumhauers with your family and friends, we're here to make your football party legendary with our party-ready tray selections. From our always fresh buttermilk fried chicken tenders to the homemade Nana's chicken salad, and of course, our fresh, never frozen, award-winning buffalo-style chicken wings. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
From the preseason NIT to the Final Four, college basketball is right here on your new home of ESPN Radio 97.7 The Zone.
What time is it? 8:36 on a Friday morning. You do have to get up a little early if you want to listen to us Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. But we're going to talk a little Alabama basketball now. Oh, my God, dude needs a haircut. Sorry, Drew. Sorry. If you could only see what I'm watching on TV, the Delta News, baby. Apparently, the producers don't tell their talent they need a haircut or do something because it's impressive. Anyway, Alabama basketball going to Arkansas, taking on the Razorbacks tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And who better to talk with? He'll be on the call with Chris Stewart as they head to Fayetteville. He's taking some time out of his busy schedule. We always enjoy catching up with the longtime color analyst for the Crimson Tide Sports Network, and that is Bryan Passink, and he's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management. Oh, wait, we are waiting. John, trying to get him transferred. Okay, my bad. Didn't know. I thought it was already done. I thought he was already there with us, but John working through that to get Bryan on with us. But we're going to talk some Crimson Tide basketball, as you said, Scott. We've already talked about the Arkansas side with Curtis Wilkerson, and now we are going to be talking the University of Alabama here in a second because it's a big game for the Tide. They're trying to hold serve. You're trying to stay on the heels of the number one team in the country, the Auburn Tigers. And but the road trips have been good for Alabama so far in the SEC, but you got to keep it up so far, and we'll see if they can do that here as we now do, I believe, have Bryan Passink on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Bryan, good morning. How are you?
Doing great. How are y'all?
We're doing well, and it's funny. We just talked to Curtis Wilkerson of Inside Arkansas. You follow the league as well as anybody, also, since you have been doing the radio and color analyst, job for the Crimson Tide for so many years now. But you're so close to the Alabama program, but you're so familiar with the SEC. You're a hoop head like myself. But it's so funny in the last 7 days or so how this script is completely flipped. Arkansas was thought to be DOA, and now it's going to be a crazy atmosphere after the 2 road wins for John Calipari as Alabama's headed to Bud Walton Arena.
Yeah, it's crazy how the schedule works out. Would have loved to have played Arkansas a couple of weeks ago,
right?
Because they were obviously struggling and didn't seem to be going anywhere. But I mean, you look at their roster and see the talent, even with Boogie Fland out, that this is as talented a roster as a lot of teams in the country in the top 25. So John Calipari has done a lot of winning over the course of his career. And with the talent they had, you felt like if they could get it going and gain some confidence in this league, you're always going to have opportunities to turn your season around. And there are opportunities for big wins each and every game. And they've gotten a couple of big ones, none bigger than John Calipari going back to Rupp Arena and winning that game. I think that was a shock around the league and around the country, just because of Kentucky, first of all, being really good and Rupp being a place to play. And that's a game that the Kentucky people wanted more than any other on their schedule. For them to go and play the way they did, shoot the ball the way they did in that type of environment was impressive. And I kind of thought that going to Texas, and Texas is not quite as good as Kentucky, but still, NCAA tournament team and a road game, and that Arkansas might come down to earth, but the opposite happened. They destroyed Texas on the road and gained momentum and confidence. And Bud Walton's always a tough place to play, regardless of how good the Hogs are. But when they're good, there's not a tougher place to play in the country. It's going to be sold out. It's going to be wild. It's going to be an incredible environment tomorrow night at Bud Walton. But it's also going to be an Arkansas team who not only has a pulse, but I mean, they're hot, they're confident, and they're good. And that all of a sudden is going to be a much more difficult game than I think we thought, just as you mentioned 7 days ago.
How big was this week away from playing games? A lot of times as fans, you get caught up in them playing a game, twice a week, and you think that's the way it needs to be. But coaches will tell you, this week here is so important because you actually get to practice. You actually get to work on things. How big is this week for Alabama to not have a game and then just play on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it's big, and I think I'll be able to answer this question a little better about 11 o'clock on Saturday night or 10:30, whenever the game is over, because it is. I mean, listen, the season's a grind. The SEC is an absolute grind, and so to have a midweek bye is important for a lot of reasons. And I think one is this team, despite their 19-3 record and number 3 in the country, they have been banged up, and they have not been as healthy as Nate Oates or these guys would like to be. So a little time off from the court to get healthy, I think, is huge. The mental fatigue and physical fatigue, obviously, but also the mental fatigue of just going through the grind of a season wears on you. So even though you're obviously practicing and practicing hard, you're just not, you're able to take a little more time off, a little more time off your legs, and not having to travel and do those things that typically come with playing 2 games in a week is, I think, great from a mental health standpoint and a mental break, as well as the physical part. And it does give you a chance to work on some things and not work on your opponent, because you have to balance that over the course of the season. I mean, you're always trying to work on yourself and get better, but you're also implementing a scouting report with a day or two to prepare for your next opponent. And so you do have to manage that balance, but with that bye week, you can really laser focus on yourself and try to improve yourself. And this Alabama team, there's no surprise the areas that they need to get better. I mean, they need to get better taking care of the ball. That's been an area that has hurt this team. It didn't hurt them against Georgia, although they continued to turn it over at a high rate. But when Alabama, with the high-powered offense they have, takes care of the ball, they're obviously really good. And when they don't, they're not. It puts them in a vulnerable position. They need to get better defensively. I think they are. They've got some guys that are getting better on that end of the floor individually, and I think that'll result in a better as a team as forward. But when you look at the remaining schedule, it is the number 1 toughest remaining schedule in all of college basketball. And one game that really didn't account for how difficult it is the next one, and that's Arkansas, which on paper doesn't look maybe like some of the other games later in the schedule. But when you watch Arkansas, especially the last 2 games, this is going to be a tough one. And Alabama hopefully will benefit from maybe fresh legs and just getting away from playing a little bit, and they'll be refreshed, ready to go tomorrow night in Bud Walton.
And Bryan, I asked this of Nate Oates after the game against Georgia. I think it's very key. We've seen this team evolve. All teams do, but Chris Youngblood is certainly starting to look like the guy that Alabama anticipated adding. It was the AAC Player of the Year, the American Athletic Conference, over at South Florida. He's been really, really good as he's become a starter. And I'll get you to comment on Youngblood, but also getting Darion Reed and LeBaron Philon healthy and maybe being a part of that second unit. That's 2 guys that are potential first-round NBA draft picks that are going to be key to getting the rotation back to 10, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you on all of it. Chris Youngblood has been terrific, and to no surprise of anybody around the program. I mean, when he signed with Alabama and decided to transfer, you knew he was going to be one of the top transfers in the country. And once he got healthy, he was going to be doing what he's doing right now, and that is knocking down shots, has the ability to get to the free throw line, get in the lane. He's a really good defender, high IQ, great leader. He's everything you want on your team, and he's provided that. And then with the other 2 guys, maybe 2 of the most talented players on an extremely talented team, and LeBaron Philon and Darion Reed. And when we talk about this team getting healthy, I mean, those are the first 2 that come to mind. I mean, those 2 have not been healthy the last several weeks. And so a little time off will hopefully help them. And when you're a freshman and you're used to, playing at the high school level, and it's not just the amount of games that you play in college, but it's also the intensity of practice. I mean, it's just different. And first of all, Nate Oates practices are different than most around the country. So you take it up a couple different levels from the grind that has on you. So, I don't know if who hits the proverbial wall as freshmen and who doesn't, but I know this: when you're a first-year player and you're in college basketball, there are adjustments that happen, and you do go through those periods about this time of year where you need to kind of whether it's time off your feet or just kind of getting refocused through the home stretch, because at this point you're winding down your high school season, and at this point you're just kind of midway point of the SEC in college. So to get ready mentally, physically for the home stretch, I think will be important. And I think LeBaron Philon and Darian Reed are going to get things going in the right direction and be a big part of the success of this team late. And I know they're going to be dependent on because these are two of the best and most talented freshmen in the country. And, once they get healthy, which I anticipate that is the case and will be the case moving forward, they're going to help this team a lot on both ends of the floor.
Have they performed? Have those two guys performed the way you thought they would going into the year?
Yeah. I mean, listen, LeBaron Philon has exceeded expectations. When he signed with Alabama in the summer and you looked at the depth of the backcourt, I wasn't sure he was going to get much playing time. And not only has he gotten playing time, I think he's been one of the best freshmen in the SEC, which means you're one of the best freshmen in the country. He's been banged up a little bit, and I don't think it's anything serious, but the grind of the season, along with some nagging injuries, he hasn't played quite as well the last few weeks as he has over the course of the season. But I anticipate him having a really strong finish. And Darian Reed, the guy that's missed a lot of time with some injuries lately, again, nothing serious. He should be 100% ready to go for the home stretch. At least that's my understanding. And he's a guy that can get it done on both ends of the floor. He's a really good defender, plays with toughness, has versatility on that end of the floor, takes the ball strong to the basket. And like a lot of freshmen are trying to figure out their role and offensively in this Nate Oates system, where they fit. And I think he's done a good job of that. And I anticipate both of those guys, with the experience that they've gotten playing the schedule that Alabama has, that they're going to continue to get better as the season goes on.
And Bryan, as we're wrapping it up, I know you played with some cat named Antonio McDyess. He was a pretty good player. And I could tell when the first time I ever saw him that he had just some athleticism and some skills and some talent that, that was going to be special when it all came together. I'm getting the same kind of vibes almost with Aiden Sherrill with that performance against Georgia. He's getting so much better. He is disgustingly talented.
Yeah, he is. I mean, gosh, speaking of banged up and not healthy, he missed a lot of time the early part of the season. And so, got off to a little bit of a slow start, especially for a guy that was a McDonald's All-American and a 5-star, but you could see the talent. And it's fun to watch his progression as he gets more time, as he gains more confidence, he just gets better as a young player, and he is playing at a high level. And he's one of those guys that I think has made it tough on the coaching staff from a rotation standpoint, because you gotta play him because of his production, and gives you depth in the front court. He's a highly skilled big man, close to 7 feet tall, can shoot it. He's defending, he's rebounding, and he's just getting more comfortable in the college game. And again, we mentioned Darian Reed and LeBaron Philon, and you could add Aiden Sherrill to the mix. He's a freshman that I think is going to be much better in late February and March than he was in November, December, and even early January. So I think this freshman class that is one of the best in the country is going to continue to get better and be a big part of this team's success as we get in to March and the postseason.
So Alabama traveling to Arkansas tomorrow. You'll be able to hear the game right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. What's a key or two, Bryan, for Alabama to go on that road and get a win against the Hogs?
Well, ball security. I mean, Alabama's, I think, when healthy and when taking care of the ball, this is the best offense in college basketball. I believe still number one in scoring, or if not right there. And when they've taken care of the ball, they've been really hard to beat. I think they're getting better on the defensive end because of some of the guys that we've talked about, some of the young players that are getting better and better on that end of the floor. So you got to come in to Bud Walton and take care of the ball. That crowd is insane, especially when they create turnovers and get out in transition. You can't give them anything easy to get the crowd into it. So it starts with taking care of the basketball. That's been a point of emphasis in practice all week. It won't be easy against an athletic and really good defensive team in Arkansas, but I know that this team will hopefully be ready to go. I expect them to be excited to get back out on the court. And as a competitor, you love to go on the road and play in one of the great environments, and that is absolutely what Bud Walton is.
We will look forward to the call. Chris Stewart, Brian Passink, safe travels to Fayetteville, hoping you bring back another win from Bud Walton Arena. It's always great to talk some Crimson Tide hoops with you, Brian. Have a great weekend, and we appreciate it.
Always enjoy it, guys. Appreciate y'all having me.
All right, Brian Passink helping us wrap up our Friday edition. We'll take that break. We'll wrap her all up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Had one wreck on Elkwood section near Waltrain. I had an overturned vehicle there, reported with injury, but they canceled HIMSI on it. Everything else is clear this morning. I don't see any other snags for you. You be careful as you make the rest of your trip in. Do your methods to lose weight no longer work for you? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeAmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Well, they put out via tax records Greg Sankey's salary for 2024. Did you see how much he made during the fiscal year last year?
I did not. How much did he make?
As commissioner of the SEC, Mr. One Greg Sankey brought in $4.22 million.
Oh, nice salary there for Greg. He can go to more YouTube concerts.
YouTube concerts?
YouTube.
Oh, I thought you said YouTube. I was like, what the heck's a YouTube concert?
He likes YouTube. So.
Well,
you know, I've just from some of those days at SEC Media, days when we see him and he talks about kind of some of his varied interests. He is a kind of a renaissance man. But I want to give a shout out to the Huntsville Crimson Panthers. They win the 7 area tournament opener yesterday over Grissom 66-30. A dunk by Braden Rivers got everything started. They did an outstanding job. Evan Toms, 19 points, lead the way. J.D. Gossett, 17, which got him over 1,000 points for his career. Great accomplishment for him. Eli Stapler, 16. Really good win for them. And then Albertville, shout out. They get a big 23-point win over Sparkman. So it'll be Huntsville and Albertville, Chapter 3 at 6 o'clock on Saturday. And I know UAH basketball is upcoming as well.
Yeah, you also have the Area 8 finals, I believe, on Saturday between, James Clemens and Florence.
Yep, got a couple upsets there. Bob Jones and Austin lose. And so Florence and James Clemens for an area title.
All right, see everybody back on Monday. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
In the Army National Guard, soldiers serve part-time and close to home.
My community means everything to me. It helped shape me into who I am today and is where I choose to raise my own family. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from. And as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me